Things was never fair. I'd rather be this starving artist, experience life now at its farthest. One blue sky, we are under, torn and shred now, ripped asunder. The politics, war and famine. I thank God I'm still here jamming. Train your mind.
When are we gonna have Jurassic Park, folks? And some of the people which might be advocating against the notion would say something to the extent of, haven't you seen the movies? Didn't you see everything that went wrong in the movies? Well, the reason why I don't think anything like that would actually happen is for the extent purpose that we add drama to movies to have them be more entertaining. In real life, dramatic events don't happen like that on a day-to-day or even a year-to-year basis. It's more really plain and bland, which is why we have entertainment in the first place, to help us get a more sensitive experience in regards to those emotions felt when dramatic, cataclysmic events actually occur. So, if something to the extent of Jurassic Park was to be brought into existence today, it would probably be comparable to modern-day amusement parks, in that it would be a very safe environment. Hardly any incidences would occur. If they did, they'd be taken care of very effectively. And just like within the movies, the only time that you really see incidences or accidents occurring within amusement parks is in the movies, because you wouldn't want to watch somebody at the theaters merely go about their day enjoying an amusement park. I mean, unless, you know, we're just watching like that film of that guy who's in the bubble and it's like a 24/7 recording of his life, and we catch glimpses of moments which reflect dramatic events that are portrayed in film and in music. But no, it would be very bland, other than, you know, to the extent that we're actually artificially and manipulatively coercing the fabric of life itself to reflect our own internal wills and desires. That's where the amazement would be, but it wouldn't necessarily be tragic events which we see within the movies themselves. And even if there was, they'd be spread out so far apart across the timeline that they'd be pretty much insignificant in comparison to the amount of time in which it was just pure enjoyment. So that justifies the ends anyways. And I'd go so far as to actually push the envelope one more step and say that we don't necessarily just recreate animals which have been, we actually create animals within our own realm of creativity, things which reflect what we'd want to be, not necessarily things which would come about given the conditions of the environment in which they came about in. Literally things which serve no purpose other than the fact that they serve the purpose of being neat. Something which, you know, has profound abilities, whether or not those abilities serve function other than to be something which is amazing to witness. Anyways, that's just my thoughts. Talking about this concept a little more in depth, we have concluded ultimately that you would first need some sort of computer program from which you would design the morphological features and the intrinsic characteristics of whatever type of organic life you are creating, whether it be plant life housing a fruit which you yourself have imagined and wish to create, or animal life in any form or fashion, in which you sort of like Adobe Photoshop this creature, and then you check boxes which, you know, give it different characteristics, like the ability to critically think, or, you know, having some sense of attachment to humans or whatever, or like just different characteristics. You just check off these boxes, right? And then you design the whole anatomy of the creature like on the computer, and then you just click create button, and or you can like run a test module of the creature and to see if it's something which is a viable life form. And then, you know, you could research the optimal conditions for this creature to live in, so that then you could design some sort of habitat if it's going to be in a zoo environment, or you could create it so that, you know, it could be cared for under your wing at your home if it's going to be a pet or something of that extent. And then you just click the create button, and then you have the artificial womb, which you have, you know, bioengineered as well. And then the computer just runs the program, mixes the certain components together, you know, whether it's 3D printed, so to speak, on the molecular level, and then this code is inserted into an artificial womb, and then, you know, it's housed within an environment similar to that of an egg, in like almost like just an organically living fluid, which allows the creature to grow and to, you know, become whatever it is that you designed. And you have to, you know, there's a lot of groundwork that needs to go into this, because the computer program itself would be one of the most difficult portions of this project, because you would literally have to house every single variable or variance within the genetic code itself to give you a differing resulting outcome in regards to the creature's life. And all of this would have to be meticulously understood so that it could then write the program, and it could then, you know, actually manifest the creature itself. And then a lot of work would obviously go into the molecular engineering and mechanical engineering portion of the project in regards to the actual organization of the material components from the most minuscule scale of the creature, from whatever point it is that you're actually designating or causing the organism to become a living creature. And whether it is that you're growing it from, you know, like an egg portion, and then you are Frankenstein-like shocking it into life, or, you know, you just add some chemical activators into the mix, which ultimately, you know, removes some pegs from the process, and it's like launching a ship out into the ocean. And then from then on, it's just an automated process running off of internal code, just like we are anyways. I mean, you might be saying to yourself, well, that's totally unnatural. As soon as we start influencing the natural world, where's the line drawn between us and deity? Well, what isn't natural? I mean, what drives us to do what we do anyways? Even if what we're doing is classified by us as unnatural, we ourselves are driven by natural forces. How cosmic events influence and actually take part in the shaping of microcosms, which shape and influence our behaviors. After all, why is it that we ourselves do what we do? Is it not because of genetic factors which influence our psychological behavior? Is it not due to our social interaction which influences our behavior? Are not all of these things natural? So how can we say that anything we do is not a part of the natural process? How can we classify as anything as unnatural? Because what we're doing is being naturally influenced by what influences us, causing us to participate in behavior. So how is any product of our behavior unnatural if we're influenced by natural causes? On the microcosmic level to the cosmic level, which influences both. So yeah, it wouldn't be unnatural because it would merely be a part of the natural process, which was eventually going to come into play anyways. So as soon as we begin to accept the vast amount of space which actually exists within our realm of observation and what is hypothetically possible beyond which we have perceived up to this moment, we can actually accept the fact that a lot of things which we would deem to be unnatural are naturally occurring. Whether it be statistically low or highly probable, it exists somewhere out there. Even nuclear reactors have been known to come into existence out of natural causes, merely due to the fact that all you need is this certain amount of elements in the proper configuration, with other things acting and playing upon them. Now, given the vast amount of space which actually exists, this is going to occur somewhere, and we have actually recorded this occurring. And so you have to ask yourself again, what truly is natural and unnatural? And, you know, it's kind of funny because nothing that we can do or know isn't already necessarily known by nature, because we're merely playing off of the behaviors which nature itself already contains. And we can't do anything which nature itself can't already do or hasn't already done. We merely break, like, in a sense, the laws of statistical probability of it randomly occurring. For example, a photograph could be something which could occur naturally. All that you have to do is find yourself in a location where every single event that leads up to a photograph actually happens in that location. Now, given the statistical probability of the elemental characteristics which make up the universe, our portion, and also what we would deem as the natural portion, this is a highly improbable event. But given the vast nature of existence itself, it still doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, and in most likeliness, it actually does exist somewhere out there. And maybe we ourselves are merely just the random happenstance of natural occurrence, highly improbable, but an eventuality, making us natural even though we perceive to be what we do as unnatural.
Train your mind, now hear my words. Twitter, paid in little birds. If you've kept up with all my posts, then your life's just like a ghost, already dead in the machine. The screen and life, one's in between.